Matsesta tea. This family drinks only Matsesta tea, the most extraordinary tea on earth. It is grown by the father of the family, a true tea expert, Konstantin Turshu. A visit to his gorgeous tea plantations is enough to make sure that the tea is really special. So let us start our journey down the mountain road of the picturesque Matsesta ravine. Here at 400 meters above sea level, sheltered by the Caucasian Ridge, in the city of Sochi, grows the northernmost tea in the world. This is the only place of the globe where tea plantations are not at all afraid of the cold and get covered with snow in winter. Strangely enough, the local tea only benefits from that. Temperatures below zero and humid subtropical heat give the tea plant its unique taste and aroma. These gentle leaves contain more nutrients than Indian or Chinese teas do. It is still not known who was the first to make himself a cup of tea. The Chinese maintain that it was an emperor of the Celestial Empire, while Indians give the credit to a Buddhist preacher. But one thing is certain, the northernmost tea emerged over 100 years ago thanks to a simple peasant by the name of Judas Koschmann. The taste of Matsesta tea is influenced both by climate and season. The leaves plucked in May make the tea delicate and fragrant. The autumn harvest gives the drink a rich and tart taste. Harvesting the northern tea lasts for 6 months. The plants make up long and even hedgerows, bringing the plantations their velveteen look. The hedgerows make harvesting easier, allowing the pickers to move between the rows with their equipment and cut off the tea leaves. Their sharp knives cut off only the very tops. The ventilation system makes airflows catch the leaves and blow them into a bag made of light parachute fabric. Plucking Matsesta tea is a job for the most skillful pickers. The knives must part off only the flesh. The flesh is a young tea plant shoot of 3 leaves and a bud. Like any other plant, it absorbs the light during the day, and at night time it uses the absorbed energy and chlorophyll to generate nutrients, which accumulate in the top leaves. Matsesta tea is made only from fleshes. The young shoots can also be plucked by hand, when the gentle sprouts get carefully parted from the plant. When handled manually, a hedgerow of the evergreen plant will show new flesh tops in just 1 week. While manual picking is time-consuming, it allows for 10 consecutive harvests. Now these fresh leaves will be taken to the factory to become black, green, red or white tea. Indeed, all sorts of Matsesta tea are made from the same tea leaves. Black and green teas both come from one and the same plant. So what makes the two drinks differ so much in taste and color? Mr. Turshu is ready to disclose the secret of genuine Japanese green tea. If you scald a china teapot with some boiling water and then put a pinch of tea in it, in a few minutes the brew will be giving a faint smell of fish broth. This is what marks off green tea of top quality. The pale olive color of the brew is the result of steaming. Steaming tea leaves is a Japanese invention. Such green tea, unlike the fried Chinese tea, retains virtually all its microelements and tanning substances. First, the freshly picked tea leaves get dried of dew and unnecessary moist. Next, the sprouts get a hot steam treatment. This is the most important stage, although it lasts for just 1 minute. The steam stops the oxidation process in fresh leaves. This is why green tea remains green. Now it's time to curl and dry up the leaves. The steamed leaves rotate in 6 drums. First, they are treated with dry and hot air. Then, a horizontal roller slightly presses the future tea. In the next drum, the blades on a shaft break up the lumpy mass. Inside the hollow drums, the leaves get gradually rubbed and twisted, that is, curled. The inner surface of the drums is bamboo. This organic material does not oxidize or decay. The future green tea should go to the oven for the final dry up and fixing the leaves curled. Otherwise, the residual moist would kill the valuable stuff. After the oven, the tea leaves travel on the conveyor belt to a vibrating sieve. The tea is handled with care and attention in order to preserve all of its valuable properties at the cellular level. Incredibly, a few hours ago, these leaves were growing on the sunny plantation of Matsesta ravine. And now they have become sencha, steamed Japanese tea, the pride of Mr. Tushu. Now we see why the man and his family have their special attitude to having tea. And now we shall open the secret of Matsesta black tea with chocolate flavor and see how it is made. We shall also find out who the tea pickers are most afraid of, why the tea is called peko, and what oxygen has to do with it. Further, we'll meet a man whose job is one of the most uncommon in the world. They say the British Queen herself prefers the tea from the subtropical plants that grow in the Caucasus. The local black and green teas are known as the northernmost ones in the world. Here the winters make the plants stronger, protecting them from disease and pest, and giving them their incomparable taste. Handling these vast velvet hills resting in the hot sun is a day-to-day job of the tea pickers. They take only the flesh and the tips, the 3 top leaves and the bud. Other leaves are ignored, as they are coarse and no good to make tea from. The Mongols make their national tea from coarse reddish leaves. They have it with milk, mutton fat, flour and salt. This substantial drink is revitalizing and refreshing. Coarse leaves are not the ones of choice for Matsesta tea. Old shoots are cut off the hedgerows before they could be picked by the harvesting machine. Each plant is treated very carefully, lest the coarse leaves should affect the taste of younger sprouts. The cutting should be done several times a week over 6 months, while they proceed with harvesting. The pickers work under the burning sun, and after the rain, they are to work for hours between damp hedgerows. Another inconvenience is snakes. The rustle of whip snakes and venomous Caucasian adders is heard time and again on the plantation. The biggest tea plantations are in Japan, China and India. One of Indian provinces is home to the most elevated tea, growing at 3,000 meters above sea level. Matsesta is the place where the most northern tea grows. Green and black teas both come from the same plant. So what's the difference? And why do we get a pale green brew with a subtle fishy flavor in the first case and gold brown drink with tart taste and chocolate aroma in the second? The secret lies in the production technique. At the factory, the freshly picked fleshes are left alone for about a whole day. Seems like nothing happens to them, but in fact, the leaves get air-dried or dehydrated. Losing moist, the young shoots get so soft that you can roll a handful of tea leaves into a dense ball. Air drying is required only for black tea. Note that the leaves are still green. When will the tea change color? The air-dried leaves get loaded into tea boxes to be sent down the conveyor belt into roller machines. This is where the most important things happen, namely curling and fermentation. Inside the rotating drum, the leaves get curled and pressed under their own weight. The leaf cover breaks up and the pressed cells yield fluid. As it meets the air, it oxidizes and triggers fermentation, which changes the color, taste and aroma of tea leaves. When the fermentation is too long, the brew will be acid, while if it's terminated early, the tea will get a reddish tint. To stop fermentation smoothly, the semi-product gets put in boxes and left in the open air. By controlling chemical processes inside tea leaves, the experts achieve unique taste and aroma. Georgi is among the world's top 10 tea tasters. A professional taster can distinguish between hundreds of tea tastes. Georgi spent more than 10 years in India and has never had coffee or alcohol in his life to allow his unique taste buds determine the tea's features within a fraction of a second. The tea taster is involved in each production stage. The man is sure that only the northern Matsesta tea has a unique chocolate taste. This is such a rare thing that even native Indians come over to taste the local tea. Only with Georgi's approval, they start blending the tea leaves. The black tea approved by the taster gets into the oven. Here at 100 degrees, the leaves will become completely dry and fixed. After that, the black tea will slowly cool down before separation. To separate curled tea leaves from leaf stalks and fibers, the mass passes through an ebonite drum. The drum is pre-rubbed with felt to generate static electricity. Dry stalks are lighter than leaves, so they readily stick to the drum. Finally, we get perfectly curled tea leaves, known as peko, which is the Chinese for eyelash. That's why we call selected tea with large curled leaves peko. Well, it's time we ended our story. and finally appreciated the taste of the northernmost Matsesta tea. Matsesta tea.